Hello everyone, welcome to Abnormal Investigations. I've got your second encounter for the night. This is the 9 o'clock encounter. We're done double drops, guys, so don't forget after the 8 o'clock we're going to have the 9 o'clock, so be watching for it to come out. This one here, I believe, is going to be one that's going to catch a lot of your attention. I think it's a good one. And again, we are working on the Patreon video drop. We're collecting evidence right now. It should be really good. We're excited to drop that to y'all. We should be actually doing the recordings pretty soon. I've always been a bit of a skeptic when it comes to paranormal activity. I've never believed in ghosts, UFOs, or any of that other stuff. But over the past few weeks, I've started to feel like something is off. At first, it was just little things. I'd hear a strange noise in the night, or catch a glimpse of something out of the corner of my eye. I brushed it off as mere paranoia, but as the occurrences continued, I started to feel like I was being watched. I tried to shake the feeling, telling myself I was just being silly. But deep down, I knew something was off. It wasn't until I saw it that I realized just how off things really were. I was walking home from the grocery store one night, lost in thought, as I strolled down the sidewalk. It was a crisp autumn evening, the stars shining brightly overhead, and I felt at peace, honest. But that's when I seen it. At first, I thought it was just a dog, a big German Shepherd or something similar. But as I looked closer, I realized it was something different. It was similar, but it was different. It was tall, easily 6 feet or more, and its body was humanoid, but its head was unmistakably canine, with pointed ears and a long, curved muzzle. I froze. Of course, my heart was about to beat out of my chest as the creature turned and looked at me. Its eyes, they were kind of human looking. It's hard to explain. They looked like a dog's eyes, but they also had that human look or that human feel or something more beyond them, more behind them. And I could feel its gaze, like a weight was on my skin or into my soul. It's hard to explain. For what felt like an eternity, we just stared at each other. I was too scared to move, too scared to breathe. The creature, on the other hand, it seemed completely calm. Its eyes were fixed on me with an intensity of studying me, I felt like, or maybe gauging me to see if I was an easy prey. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the creature turned and disappeared into the darkness. I stood there for a long time, trying to process what I had just seen, afraid to walk past where I had just seen it. As I made my way home, I couldn't shake this feeling that I was being watched or stalked. I kept looking over my shoulder, expecting to see the creature lurking in the shadows, but I didn't see it again that night. Over the next few days, I started to notice strange things again. I'd hear a strange noise in the night, or catch a glimpse of something out of the corner of my eye. It was as if the creature was still out there, still watching me. I would have to close my curtains at night and my blinds because I couldn't get the feeling that I was being watched from outside. I tried to research the creature to learn more about what I had seen, but there was surprisingly little information available. Some people claimed to have seen similar creatures, but there was no concrete evidence to back up any of their claims. It was all just pretty much unprovable encounters. I was left with a lot of questions. What was this creature? Where did it come from? And what did it really want? As the days turned into weeks, I started to feel like I was losing my mind. I was constantly on edge, always looking over my shoulder, expecting to see the creature lurking in the shadows. A fear, hoping that it wasn't there, but looking intensely to see if it was. I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know what. I considered talking to the police, but I knew they'd just think I was crazy. I considered talking to a paranormal investigator, but I didn't know if they would even believe me. I mean, do they really believe this stuff? So I did the only thing I could think of. I started to take precautions. I locked my doors and windows at night. I carried a flashlight with me whenever I went outside. I knew it was a long shot, but I hoped that somehow, some way, I'd be able to avoid the creature and get back to my normal life. But as I laid in bed that night, I couldn't shake this feeling that I was being targeted. I kept looking over my shoulder, expecting to see the creature lurking in the shadows. And then, just as I was drifting off to sleep, I heard a strange noise outside my window. It was a low, rasping sound, like something was scratching at the glass. I froze. I couldn't even move in my own bed. And then finally I was able to get up and get out of bed, and I approached the window, trying not to make any sudden movements or noises. As I looked out into the darkness, I saw the creature standing in the shadows. It was staring up at the window at me, with a gaze and what I would almost swear was a smile. It had a dead rabbit in its hand. It threw the rabbit, smashing it into the window right in front of my face. Blood, guts, and everything all over the window. The rabbit bounced off, hit the ground. It walked over, picked it up, put it in its mouth, and turned and walked off. I knew I had to get out of there, and fast. I grabbed my phone and my keys, and I made a run for the door, and then I stopped, realizing I shouldn't go outside. It'll be waiting on me. I called my best friend, but I didn't want her to come over and get hurt, and she told me to call the police and tell them there was a prowler. I called the police and told them that there was a prowler, and they did show up in Spotlight, but they didn't find anything. But one of the officers, he was a really nice gentleman, he said that he knew that I was afraid, he could tell. He came over the very next day and he installed some motion detectors above my window. He also told me that I could have a flashlight that he had that was very, very bright. Ever since we put up the motion detector, I've had no trouble. It seems the lights keep it at bay. But it was kind of weird what the officer told me. He looked me in the eyes and he said, "Always make sure the light bulbs are good and that they work. You should be fine, dear." Tell me that's not strange, Mike. I think that if you had an encounter with it, they've probably had other calls on it. He probably knows exactly what's going on. He just can't say much. I think it's interesting that he knew to put the light up. It's like he knew. And he's telling you to make sure that it stays working. And he gave you a bright flashlight, which is really nice. I think lights have a lot to do with keeping them at bay. You may even look into getting you a cam, a deer cam, and setting it out there. And it may even keep it back even further. I hope it doesn't come back. Keep your windows locked, your doors locked. Keep your precautions, and let us know if anything else happens. Thank you for sharing your encounter. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Until next time, keep your head on your shoulders, and don't be something's dinner.